Hey, NFL Cowboys news fans! Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest buzz from the NFL. And if you're a returning viewer, well, welcome back. We've got some huge news today that's shaking up the NFL universe, and trust me, this is something you don't want to miss. Today, we're diving into the Myles Garrett trade rumors that have been swirling around the NFL after the Cleveland Browns star defensive end reportedly made a trade request. Yes, you've heard that right, Myles Garrett, one of the most dominant pass rushers in the league, could be on the move. But which teams are most likely to trade for him? We're about to break down 10 NFL teams that are already linked to this huge trade rumor and explore how each of them could benefit from adding Garrett to their defensive line. First, let's set the stage. Myles Garrett has been the cornerstone of the Cleveland Browns defense since being selected 1 overall in the 2017 NFL Draft. His combination of size, speed, and power makes him one of the most feared defensive players in the league. Over his career, he's racked up over 70 sacks, consistently terrorized quarterbacks, and been named to multiple Pro Bowls. But recently, things have taken a turn. According to reports, Garrett has requested a trade from the Cleveland Browns. Now, this request doesn't mean that a trade is imminent. But with a player of Garrett's caliber, the rumor mill has started to churn. So, where does this leave the Browns and Garrett, and which teams could be interested in making a move for him? Before we get into the teams that might be interested in trading for Garrett, let's talk about why the Browns might consider trading away their superstar defensive end. The Cleveland Browns are in a bit of a rebuilding phase. Despite having one of the most talented rosters in the league, they've been struggling with consistency. With recent changes in the front office, and the Browns still trying to find their footing as a true contender, a big trade could shake things up. Trading Garrett could bring in significant assets, especially draft picks, which could help the Browns bolster their future. Additionally, Garrett's contract, while lucrative, could be tough for the Browns to manage in a long-term rebuild. They may want to start looking toward building a more well-rounded roster by offloading some star power for assets that help their future. So, while it would be a huge move, there is a logic behind it. The question is, which teams would actually be willing to trade for Garrett, and what would it take? Now, let's get to the juicy part, the teams that are reportedly eyeing Myles Garrett. We've compiled a list of 10 NFL teams that could make a strong case for acquiring one of the league's most dominant pass rushers. Let's break them down. First up, we've got the New York Giants. The Giants have been looking for a reliable pass rusher to pair alongside Azeez Ojulari, and Garrett could be exactly what they need. The Giants' defense has made strides in recent years, but they still lack a true game wrecker on the defensive line. Adding Garrett would give them one of the league's most dominant edge rushers, instantly making them a more formidable defense in the NFC East. The Giants have the cap space to make a move, and with a growing window to compete, they could be one of the most serious contenders to land Garrett. If they're willing to part with some draft picks and possibly a key player, this could be a deal that makes sense. Next, let's talk about the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys are already known for having a fierce defensive line, with the likes of Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence. But if they're serious about making a run at a Super Bowl, adding Myles Garrett could take that defense to another level. The Cowboys are always looking to improve, and a trade for Garrett would put them in the conversation as one of the league's most unstoppable units. The Cowboys have the resources to get a deal done. They would need to give up a few draft picks, but Garrett's impact would be huge for their playoff aspirations. This is definitely a team to watch. The Los Angeles Rams are another team that could be an intriguing suitor for Garrett. They've had a strong defensive identity with players like Aaron Donald leading the charge, but Donald isn't getting any younger, and the Rams could use another dominant presence on the edge. With Garrett in the mix, it would create an unbelievable pass-rushing duo that could strike fear into any quarterback. Plus, the Rams are always in win-now mode, especially after their Super Bowl victory in 2022. Trading for Garrett could make them even more dangerous, and their cap flexibility could make it possible to fit him in. Now, let's talk about the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs have one of the most high-powered offenses in the NFL, but their defense has been hit or miss at times. While Chris Jones has been an elite force on the defensive line, adding another dominant edge rusher like Myles Garrett could give them a more balanced, elite defense. Given the Chiefs' status as perennial Super Bowl contenders, this trade would elevate them even further. If they can free up some cap space, this could be a move that pushes them back to the top. The Chicago Bears are still a team in transition, but they've made a lot of noise in recent years with their defense. Myles Garrett would be a huge asset to a Bears defense that has struggled to put consistent pressure on the quarterback. Pairing Garrett with Roquan Smith and their rising defense would give the Bears one of the most fearsome front sevens in the NFL. Plus, with a solid cap situation, the Bears could afford to make this trade if they feel Garrett could be the missing piece to get their team into the playoffs. Another team to consider is the Miami Dolphins. Miami has been building a solid defense, but they could use another edge rusher to complement Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips. Garrett would instantly make this defense one of the most dangerous in the league, and with the Dolphins being on the rise, adding a star like Garrett could push them toward title contention. The Buffalo Bills are always in the conversation as a Super Bowl contender, and adding Myles Garrett to their already stout defense would make them nearly impossible to stop. With Von Miller coming off an injury, Garrett could be the perfect addition to pair with him, creating an elite pass-rushing duo. This would significantly improve their chances of making a deep playoff run. Let's talk about the San Francisco 49ers. With one of the best defenses in the NFL already, adding Myles Garrett to a defensive line that already includes Nick Bosa would create a nightmare for any quarterback. The 49ers are in win-now mode and have the draft capital to potentially make this trade work. The Los Angeles Chargers are a team on the rise, and adding Myles Garrett could elevate them to true contender status in the AFC. They have a solid defense, but a true edge rusher like Garrett would add even more firepower. And finally, the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles are another team with one of the best defensive lines in the NFL, but adding Garrett could make them even more formidable. With a solid mix of young talent and veteran leadership, the Eagles could take this trade risk and turn it into another Super Bowl appearance. So, there you have it. 10 NFL teams that could be in the running for Myles Garrett if the Browns decide to trade him. The NFL offseason is always full of surprises, and this one is definitely a blockbuster in the making. Which team do you think should make a move for Garrett? Do you believe the Browns will pull the trigger, or is this just a rumor that will fizzle out? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And as always, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, because we've got tons of NFL news, rumors, and analysis coming your way.